What a crazy last 7 months we've been living. A pandemic caused by the invisible coronavirus and civil unrest caused by an old foe we've been fighting since before America was founded as a nation. Now, America is as polarized as it's ever been before, with elections approaching us in November. So let's talk about it. Welcome to my Black Lives Matter documentary, film, whatever you want to call it. In this video, I go over what the movement is really about and what it's trying to achieve. I go over American history to explain why this movement happened in the first place. I also go over protests, riots, looting, and explain the differences between them. And finally, I talk about what we need to change and what we need to do to make that change. To begin this video, let's start off with what a peaceful protest looks like in my hometown, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
People try and act like they don't, but I appreciate every single one of you out here. Because whether you're black, brown, white, you know that injustice at my house is injustice for yours.
Young people speaking their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. Time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Until you agree that we are not dangerous because of the color of our skin.
What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street, singing songs and they're carrying signs. Mostly say hooray for our side. It's time to stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
What do we want?
Justice.
What do we want?
Justice. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor.
Black Lives Matter.
Paranoia strikes deep.
There is no difference in between George
Into
Floyd
your life it will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man come and take you away. We better stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. We better stop now. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going. We better stop. Children, what's that sound?
Mourners gathered in Houston today to remember the life of the man whose death has sparked worldwide outrage.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! Black Lives Matter!
Sydney, Japan, South Korea, Kenya, South Africa, Lebanon, Canada, all of these just in the past 48 hours. Everywhere there is hope, the swell of support will amount to change, finally.
That is the group now marching over the Brooklyn Bridge towards Manhattan. They're on the Manhattan-bound roadway.
These are just a few of the many victims who have lost their lives due to the color of their skin in the US. Each and every one of these deaths is a tragedy worthy of nationwide protests, but the death of George Floyd was the match that lit the powder keg. The murder by police that communities finally responded with, enough is enough. We must realize there is no solution when we don't talk to each other. No change is made. We are a polarized nation. Everybody is yelling, please listen. The Black Lives Matter movement is a movement asserting human rights that were traditionally denied to African Americans. One of the main controversies surrounding this movement is in its name. The Black Lives Matter movement is not meant to claim that only they matter, but traditionally they have not mattered. Once you understand the history of this country's social and political injustice, the Black Lives Matter movement makes perfect and necessary sense. For some people, all lives matter is a natural response to the Black Lives Matter movement, but that obscures the context and history of this movement as a response to historical inequalities. Throughout American history, Black lives have been judged as less than equal, opposite of what is stated in the Declaration of Independence. People who claim all lives matter might want to consider America's historical inequalities and the legacy of slavery. Black Lives Matter is a call for recognition of American history. This movement has pushed the fundamental problem of unequal application of the law, unequal application of political and social rights into the light for us all. This movement is fighting for rights that have been denied to people of color, rights that George Floyd was denied on the day he was murdered. Black Lives Matter is a fight for equality. We're fighting for police reform, not destruction. We want accountability within law enforcement and better training for officers. So when a movement like this comes along, to address and confront historical racial injustice and to hold our law enforcers accountable, stand behind it, giving it momentum, power, and possibility to make a change. I believe the only way to beat racism is through education and awareness. So let's start at the very beginning, with the specific history that has led to the social uprising we are experiencing now, the history of oppression and slavery that built the so-called land of the free.